Hello and welcome to another edition of the Creation Corner with your host David McNabb. I'm so glad that you could come on board today and be with us. And I do have a special guest with me today. I'll be introducing him shortly. But first, you have to suffer through the wee bit of humor. And I saw some signs in Texas recently on the email, and I thought sharing with you. If you can read this, you're in range. They're serious in Texas.
Yes.
Do not cross this pasture unless you can do it in 9 seconds because the bull can do it in 10. Here's another one. Tornado warning in Texas. All residents advised to go to Cowboy Stadium. No chance of a touchdown there. Whoa, that hurts. Okay, no trespassing due to price increase on ammo. Do not expect a warning shot. That ammo is going up, so no warning shots in Texas.
Amen.
Speed limit sign 80 or 85, maybe 90, but don't go 100 or what the heck, it's Texas. Texas is a big place, you know what I mean? Okay, no trespassing. I own firearms and a backhoe. Get the idea there, don't you? Is there life after death? Trespass here and find out.
Amen.
They're serious in
They're
Texas.
serious.
Please do not enter the dangerous area behind this gate. You quite possibly will get hurt, then will sue, then a protracted court battle will ensue, exhausting your financial resources, and you will lose because this sign that warned you, you will be Exhibit 1. And lastly, we do not serve women. You must bring your own. All right, that's Texas for you. All right, and I always do a resource recommend for creation science. Today I have one called Evolution's Blunders, Frauds, and Forgeries, $15. And this is a real good book to just to show you all the fakes and frauds out there in the evolution world that they're trying to pull over our eyes, okay? And especially in the schools. That's very, very sad. Also, I have this one here that I really highly recommend to you. It's Kent Hovind's Creation Seminar. This is the most popular creation information in the world. He's sold more of these seminar DVDs than anything else that's ever been sold in creation science. There is 8 DVDs here and 18 hours of scientific evidence. So it's a good thing to have for your kids at home to share with your friends. Okay, Kent Hovind's Creation Seminar Series, 8 of them, 18 hours, and that's $65. And I'll be glad to hook up with you to go over these and other resources that I have at home. Okay, why do we talk about creation science? Why do we hold seminars? Why do we have creation speakers and creation scientists? Well, it's because, first of all, we want to equip believers to be able to defend their faith, like we're told to do in 1 Peter 3:15.
Amen.
Always be ready to defend that hope that you have within you. Okay, to give answers to any questions that come your way. So we're commanded to have these answers. That's number one. Number two, it's to counter the brainwashing that goes on in education and the media. Lots of that happening, and we need to be able to give our kids the answers they need to counter the nonsense. And then 3 is to call the church back to the authority of the Bible. Now, we always get in trouble when we put man's word over God's word.
Yes.
Okay? It's God, it has the authority, not man. So we need to listen to God first and then man. All right, so that's the basis of why we're doing this. I also have some interesting quotes here you might like. John MacArthur, you know him perhaps, one of the Christian leaders out there. He's been writing lots and lots of writing. He's been speaking around the country for a long time. He has a church in Southern California. He says, the world continually gives the world what it wants and becomes superficial. Man's wisdom will not get him to God. In life, it's important to know when to stop arguing with people and simply let them be wrong. And he says, a smart person knows what to say. A wise person knows whether to say it or not. Okay.
Amen.
And here's one from Albert Einstein. I fear the day that technology will surpass our human interaction. The world will have a generation of idiots.
Amen.
Okay, and Socrates said, when the debate is lost, slander becomes the tool of the losers. Boy, we see that a lot happening too, don't we? And Teddy Roosevelt said, complaining about a problem without posing a solution is called whining. Okay. Bully for Teddy Roosevelt. Good man. Very good man indeed. I want to give you just an example. I forgot to bring my box, but this is the box example. And, picture a box. Where did that box come from? Let's say the box represents the universe, okay? There's only two possibilities. Either it made itself or there was a box maker. There's the two possibilities. Did it make itself? Did the universe make itself? Or is there a God that made the universe? Over the last 100 years, science has come to be defined as only allowing natural processes to be presented and to be examined. The students that are taught this way teach it more strongly. Their students teach it even more strongly, etc., until at some point they become blinded by any other viewpoints. Only evidence that supports the idea that the box made itself becomes the only shown, written about in the science literature and presented in the textbooks. This is censorship because you are not even allowing the consideration of the other possibility, and you're not showing the problems with the belief that the box made itself. Okay, so this is an analogy of what's going on in education.
Yes.
If life started on its own, that would break the known scientific laws of biogenesis. We know, based on science and observation, it could not make itself, but the students are never told this. The law of biogenesis says that life only comes from pre-existing life.
Yes.
Life can't make itself. Okay? And you have people who think they're geniuses, like Lawrence Krauss, and out there saying, the universe made itself. Well, that's absurd. That whole premise is absurd. Something cannot make itself. And here's a great quote that I love, and I often share. Let's see if I can remember it now. What's most absurd is that, you know what, I'm going to come back when I write this down for you next week.
Can I add something?
Yeah, please.
Okay, one of the things that interests me is that when SETI looks for life, they look for information. Information always comes from a mind.
Yes.
And a mind wrote the 4 billion lines of code in every cell in our body. How can you say that this line of code didn't need a code writer?
Yes, the complexity
Makes
that you
no
just
sense.
mentioned is incredible.
It is amazingly incredible.
And to think that just came about by itself is totally absurd.
It's ridiculous.
And the quote that I was trying to remember is, nothing is too absurd to be believed if it is repeated often enough. The only reason they believe that this nonsense is true is because they're told it all the time.
That's right.
Constantly, over and over and over. And they're not presented with any scientific criticism of the theory.
In 1859, when Darwin published that foolishness that they lean on so hardly, it has taken 150 years to plant itself so deeply in the education system that it's going to be a very huge struggle to uproot it out of there.
Right. And when it comes to this whole premise about educating our kids, it's just not education. When you have a two-sided issue and you only show one side and pretend like it's a fact.
Indoctrination?
Yeah, it's called indoctrination or brainwashing.
That's what it is.
Because they're not showing any of the other side. They're pretending like it's a fact and presenting it to the kids like it's a fact. It's not a fact by any means.
There's a professor named Dr. James Tour. He's in the top 10 chemical scientists in the world, and he does quite a few, what do they call those things, blogs, where he brings in PhD scientists, and they critique the science. It's very interesting. It's on YouTube right now. Okay. It may not be tomorrow because of their censorship.
And what is it under?
Science and Faith, Dr. James Tour.
James Tour, Tour.
Tour.
Okay,
good, very good.
Good. I'll look that up when I can. Get home. The Urey Miller experiment happened in 1952. It's the most common form of life is a protein molecule, and so they were trying to make the building blocks of protein molecules, which are amino acids, which are not alive. But if they could figure that if they could make the basic building blocks of proteins, then they would really have something. Proteins are made up of amino acids. There are 20 different amino acids that form the proteins. In the experiment, they took methane, ammonia, water, and hydrogen, put them in a circular tube contraption, added electrical sparks to combine to form a few amino acids. They left out oxygen because they knew that no amino acids would form if it was present. Right. Also, every time the experiment was done, it got both right-handed and left-handed amino acids, but life uses only the left-handed amino acids. Right. So when you die, you go to a mixture, an even mixture of right and left-handed amino acids. When you're alive,
they count each other out.
Yes,
they cancel each other out.
And so they actually simulated death instead of life in their experiment.
Yes.
By having right and left hand.
And the abiogenesis crowd, the one who are trying to create life from nothing, haven't progressed any further since 1952.
Yes, that's exactly right. And they won't.
They won't.
Because it's impossible.
They don't have that breath of God.
For life to exist, the amino acids must be lined up in a very specific order for all 20 of them. Since evolution only has blind, random chance, the average protein is 300 amino acids long. A cell has 1,000 different proteins. Just to get 10 of them right through random chance would be once every 10 trillion tries to get 10 of them. To get a protein that was 300 amino acids long is the essence of an infinity. It's impossible.
It's 10 to the 150th.
So, we believe in math in every other instance except this time.
Except here. Because what it is, okay, you have 1 in 10 to the 150th. And they'll say, but you have one chance. Yeah. No, you don't. It's never going to happen. It's never going to happen.
That's right. Exactly. It's just impossible. It's mathematically impossible.
It is.
Okay. Now a pen, I'll do the pen illustration. I'll talk to you about the pen illustration next week. But first, I just wanted to mention again, we're doing a series here with the Prescott High School biology textbook. This is called Prentice Hall Biologies. This is 2006 edition. They have 4 chapters in here of their evolution unit. The rest of this is science. It's real science. But these 4 chapters in their evolution unit is just make-believe.
Storytelling.
It's just stories. And it's so sad because it really throws the kids because they expect to get science from their science book.
Doesn't it come down to their secular worldview versus a biblical worldview?
It does.
That's what it boils down to.
Yeah, and this is a secular belief system, which amounts to religion, and religion is not supposed to be taught in school.
Exactly. You are right on the money.
So here we go. Let's see what it says here. This is page 381, Descent with Modification. Each living species has descended with changes from other species over time. Okay. Well, of course, things change over time. No one disagrees with that.
Adaptation.
So this is a bait and switch argument here. So they get you with something that you have to agree with, and then they try to impose their meaning upon that later on. So yes, of course, things changed over time. But they're talking about from other species. One type of animal, one kind of animal, does not become another kind of animal. That's never been observed, and neither has it been observed in the fossil record. Okay, let's see here. Descent with modification also implies that all living organisms are related to one another. Bingo. Now we got the problem. No, everything is not related to each other. We didn't come from a common ancestor. That's just an idea. It's a hypothesis. Not a very good one.
That's Darwin.
That's right. Look back in time and you will find common ancestors shared by tigers, panthers, and cheetahs. Okay, again, they're mixing this up. Now, this is a kind of animal. These are three very similar types of animals that can be considered a kind, a biblical kind. 10 times in the first chapter of Genesis, we're told that God created kinds of animals. Okay, so the original kind could then have brought forth these other variations of that kind. All right, farther back still are the common ancestors of mammals, birds, alligators, and fishes. Okay, now we're in trouble because there's no evidence that all other animals are related to each other and came from a common ancestor. There's just none. But they present it to the kids like it's a fact.
If you go to a college of your choice, go to the biology department, ask any PhD biologist, show me one example of one type of animal becoming another. They have none.
That's right. Exactly. That's a very good thing to do. And I recommend that to high school students as well. And you have to be respectful to your teacher, and you got to learn all the stuff that they want you to learn and reproduce on the test. But that doesn't mean you have to believe it.
And that doesn't mean it's true.
That does not mean it's true. Exactly. Yes. Now, my guest today, who I've not mentioned yet, but I want to right now, is Randy England.
Pastor Randall England.
Pastor Randy England. He is the director of the New Song Christian Recovery Home in Prescott.
Yes. And
Pastor England, tell us about a little bit about yourself and your background, and then about the recovery home.
Well, needless to say, I lived a rough background. I'm not going to glorify evil. So in 2005, I came to Christ. I became ordained working through Church on the Street, if you remember those guys.
Oh, yes.
So
we had Pastor James in here.
James Taylor.
Yes.
Uh-huh.
And talking
so I was tutored under him for 2.5 years.
Oh, great.
And then I opened New Song Recovery. And since we've been open, we have baptized over 300 men, 20 to 30 wives. We have been in the same building for the last 15 years, going on 16 years. We're in the process of purchasing the building now.
Okay.
And it is a Christ-only recovery home. There is no AA. There is no God as you know him. There's only the God that you need to know. And through that, we have 2 Bible studies per day. In the mornings, we do Proverbs and Psalms. Monday through Friday at 7 o'clock in the morning, and everyone in Yavapai County or the whole world is welcome to come. At 6 o'clock in the evening, Monday through Friday, I teach on Mondays. Different pastors teach Tuesday through Friday. You don't want to look at me and just have me be your only idea of Christianity. Yeah. So we bring in a lot of different pastors, a lot of different flavors, you might say.
Okay.
And so the men get a very rounded education. My assistant manager, he told me, he says, do you realize that if someone goes to every Bible study for 6 months, and in 6 months we call it a silver certificate, and a year is a gold certificate. But he did the math, and he said if somebody comes to every Bible study, they have done 5 years of church.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's impressive.
So, and our success rate is 45% over 2 years. We have an alumni program, so the guys stay connected. We have, I have a love for what I do because Jesus Christ loved me, it gave me the ability to love others. And in that love, it is also for the least of these. And so most of the men that we have are on some type of paper, either coming out of prison, drug court, DUI court, adult probation over here in on Marina. So, and we have been contracted with the adult probation department and drug courts since 2008, and we have we really enjoy what we do. I don't have to go to work; I get to go to work.
Good.
And I don't even have to pay to go there.
How nice. Isn't that good?
So what we have, though, we are not an insurance-driven business. Our fees are $600 a month, and we keep them there because of that little verse that says, "What you've done for the least of these, you've done for me."
Yes.
So a man on SSI can come to us, can get help, pay his fees, and still have money in his pocket. And God has blessed our ministry year after year after year.
For a recovery ministry, that's
We're a
very,
church.
very low price.
Yes, sir. You're talking anywhere between $6,000 to $10,000 a month.
Yes. And
I can't do it.
It's amazing that you can keep it that low, actually.
Yes.
How many men do you have? And it's just men, right?
Yes, it's just a men's home.
Okay.
We have ideas of opening a women's home, but it would take women to run it. That's I can't run a women's home. No man should.
Okay. Sure.
So we hold 27 men. We're usually anywhere between 20 and 27. We have, what was the question you asked me? I kind of lost it.
How many men do you have there?
We have 27.
27. Is that the max?
That's max.
Okay.
I have 24 right today.
Okay.
So we have 3 beds available.
Okay.
You know,
So you got that many beds there, and where are you located?
We're located at 810 Allen Lane, and that's Prescott. It's right next to the fire department on White Spar. If you're going around the curve where Shepherd's gas station is, the fire station will be on your left. You turn right before the fire station, which looks like an alley, but it's not. It's actually a 1-lane road named Allen Lane. Come to the top of the first hill, and we're on the left. And we've been in that building for going on 16 years.
Yeah, and that's just a little tiny road there. You have to be looking for it.
Yes, it's a 1-lane road. So you have to be careful watching people come down.
Okay.
So,
All right, and it started in 2005.
2005.
And did you start it
I did.
at that time?
I'm one of the original founders.
Okay, and what do they get besides a lot of good Bible teaching?
They get Bible teaching. They get, well, we teach them how to, I'm an ex-military man, so it's very highly structured as far as cleanliness and house chores and having a job and handling your finances. So we teach all of that. We teach how to be a man.
Are they expected to have a job?
They don't have to come in. We give a grace period, and we help them find jobs.
Okay.
So almost all of our guys are employed.
You do want them to have some kind of a job in the community here.
Unless they're physically unable, it's good for a man to have a job.
Yes.
You know, the law of gleaning comes to mind, and that was God's welfare system in the book of Genesis, where the owner of the land could harvest the crop off of his land, but he couldn't harvest the corners, and his harvesters couldn't reach down and pick something up that dropped, and they couldn't go through it but one time. And then the indigenous people came in, and they got the honor of working. So they would go in and harvest the rest of it.
Okay.
That's how self-esteem is built.
Yes.
Is work.
And how do people know about the recovery home there?
Oh, well, 90% of our guys are on some kind of paper, either from prison or probation or drug court. Yeah.
So the court system knows about you, and they believe in you and what you're doing there, and send people there that
Yes,
they
sir.
know they can be helped.
Yes, sir, they do. And they have for over a decade.
That's great.
Yes,
do
sir.
Do you have other people coming in that outside of the court system?
Yes, sir, we do. We have, you know, a sister in church or grandson or whatever. You know, we service anyone who needs help.
That's great.
That's what we're there to do, is to serve.
I've seen the percentages of the retention rate, and the Christian recovery homes are so much better than the secular
Yes, sir.
attempts of working with people to get rid of their addictions that have a strong hold on them.
Well, you know, what happens is you can be addicted to success, you can be addicted to money, you can be addicted to toys, because you're looking for that something that's going to fill your heart. Then the only thing that's going to fill your heart is Jesus Christ.
Yes,
That's just facts.
absolutely.
So yeah, it's a wonderful thing to do.
So even the court system, which is very secular, realizes this.
Yes.
And sends people to you to rehab.
And not only that, but they know that when they get there, that odds are that they're going to be productive.
Yeah. Now, are the guys coming in, are they mostly Christians or non-Christians?
No.
They're non-Christians.
Either way, it doesn't matter to me. I mean, I've had men come in who were absolute atheists and leave believers because you cannot, if you take the atheist argument out to its logical conclusion, you're gonna bet everything that you have that there is no God. What happens if you're wrong? So when we present these logical arguments to people and present Jesus Christ to them, they grab hold.
Yes.
Yeah. The secular, one of the large secular places here in town has a 3% success rate over 90 days. We have a 45% success rate.
3%.
Yes.
How, how often do the men usually stay at the recovery home?
Okay, because of the court system, they mandated a 6-month program. So we have that. That's a silver certificate. A year is a gold certificate, but there is no end date. If a man's not ready, I've had men stay there for over 2 years. And then when they're ready to step out and take hold of life again, then they go.
Okay.
Yeah.
And do you help them with their court proceedings that they have to
yes.
go through?
We're tied in with the courts.
You help
Yes,
them to get through all that because it can be complicated.
It can be. Not only that, you know, I personally, most of the time, will go with them because I know the system.
Yeah.
And I enjoy, and I know the people we have sitting on the bench, and most of them are good people.
And does the judge want to know from you how this person did in the recovery process?
In the drug court process, you know, we go and we have a staff meeting before the drug court people come in, and they'll ask me, okay, how is John Smith doing? And I tell them. Now, they know that I'm not going to lie to them because I've been working with them since 2008, so they get the honest report from a person who sees them every day. So they put a lot of stock on what we tell them.
Okay. Yeah. And what's the most important thing that you teach these men about recovery and how to live their lives?
Well, that's easy. That's Jesus Christ.
The gospel.
The gospel is the ticket.
Great.
The gospel is, I can't save you, but I will introduce you to who saved me. So that's just the way I see things. And the proof is in the pudding. Yes. Because our success rates are miles above anything else.
It really is. And I really applaud you.
And I take no
for
credit,
that.
by the way.
Well, God gets the credit.
God gets the credit.
But you're the human instrument that He's using to help these men to recover their lives.
Yes, sir.
And I thank you for that. And tell our listeners how to contact you.
Okay. Our contact information is newsongrecoveryhome.org. You can also call the office at 928-227-3947. Or my cell is 928-713-9021. And
okay.
we have somebody on property 24/7.
Okay, great.
Yes, sir.
And that's in Prescott, and we'll put that on the screen. So, folks, if you know someone who could benefit from this kind of help that Pastor Randy England is offering through New Song Christian Recovery Home, call that number.
Yes.
And talk to someone there about that, okay?
One last thing is all of our Bible studies are open to the public. So even if you're not living there and you want help, the doors are open.
Is that every night at 7 o'clock?
Every morning at 7, Monday through Friday, and every night at 6, Monday through Friday.
Okay, every morning at 7 a.m. and then every evening at 6.
Yes.
Okay, you can come in and get some good biblical teaching.
Good biblical teaching, good counsel.
And you can also get counseling
Yes,
there.
sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, well,
what we're
that's
there
good to
for.
know because, you know, a lot of Christians do need counseling and they don't know where to turn. So this might be the place for you to go get some wise Christian biblical counsel.
On how to defeat the demon of addiction.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Pastor, I thank you so much for being my guest here today.
God bless you, sir.
God bless you and your ministry.
Thank you very much.
All right. Thanks for watching. God bless.